Oh, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to portray their Zoom style. No, this is not Zoom. Let's see what happens there. We'll start. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janandana Jaya Braja Janandana Jaya Braja Janandana Jaya Braja Janandana Jaya Yamuna Tiramachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiramachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiramachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiramachari Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Kum karoti vachalam pangum langayate giram yat kripa tamaham bande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Aijo Prabhu class. Have you ever experienced you go to school or college and you are sitting in a science class and a history teacher comes in? What happens? You get surprised. Am I in the right school? Am I in the right classroom? So I am a pakka materialist. Giving a spiritual topic, speaking on spiritual topic is exactly like a history teacher speaking in the science subject. So first and foremost thing, please forgive me for a high degree of disappointment here. PhD scholar was supposed to speak here, and I'm just a kindergarten guy just coming in here and speaking. So please forgive me and please tolerate me. Um, Yesterday we went to a kirtan. There was a 5 year kirtan in West Bloomfield. That's why my throat is gone because it was wonderful kirtan. And I was driving back and I got to know I'll be speaking on this verse. So I didn't prepare anything. I asked my daughter to just read the verse so that I can hear and I'll see what I'm going to speak. So please help me with your thoughts and comments, and I want to seek all of your blessings. You all are wonderful Vaishnavas. Yesterday we were just hearing about who are Vaishnavas. So you truly qualify to be there. I am very, very far away from all of you. So I want to seek your blessings. Before we actually, I'll put this as not a class, as a study of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are on Canto 3, Chapter 33, Text 20. Let me see if I can figure out how to display this. Otherwise, I request someone to post it on the TV if it's possible. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Text 20. So most of you would have pulled in on the phone, so we'll start from there. Hitva tat ipasit tatmam api akhandala yoshidam kinchit chakkaravadanam putra visle sanatura hitva tat ipsita tatmam api akhandala yoshidam kinchit chakkaravadanam पुत्र विश्लेषणातुरा हित्वा तदिपसितात्मम् अपि आखाण्डलयोषितम् किञ्चिच्चाकरवादानम् पुत्र विश्लेषणातुरा.
हित्वा तदीप्सितता ईप्सिततमं
हित्वा तदिपसितात्मम्
अखण्डलयोषितम्
अपि आखाण्डलयोषितम्
चिच्चकारवदनं
किञ्चिच्चकारवदनम्
प्रविश्लेषणातुरं
पुत्रविश्लेषणातुरा. Anyone else? हित्वा तदिपसितात्मम् अपि आखण्डलयोषितम् किञ्चिच्चकारवदनम् पुत्रविश्लेषणातुरा. माताजी. हित्वा तदिपसितात्मम् directly go to translation. Although this is about Mother Devahuti, although her position was unique from all points of view, saintly Devahuti, in spite of all her possessions, which were envied even by the ladies of the heavenly planets, gave up all such comforts. She was only sorry that her great son was separated from her. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Devahuti was not at all sorry at giving up her material comforts, but she was very much aggrieved at the separation of her son. It may be questioned here that if Devahuti was not at all sorry to give up the material comforts of life, then why was she sorry about losing her son? Why was she so attached to her son? The answer is explained in the next verse, which will be spoken Tuesday. He was not an ordinary son. Her son was a supreme personality of Godhead. One can give up material attachment, therefore, one only when one has attachment for the supreme person. Fantastic. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita, Param Drishtwani Vartate. Only when one actually has some taste for spiritual existence can he be reluctant to follow the materialistic way of life. So we'll read the translation again. Although her position was unique from her point of view, saintly devotee, in spite of all her possessions, which were envied even by the ladies of heavenly planets, gave up all such comforts. She was only sorry that her great son was separated from her. So again, seeking all of your blessings before we discuss this wonderful verse. So there was a very enlightening class which happened yesterday talking about the quality of attachment and detachment. And it was very enlightening for me because never saw attachment from the lenses of detachment. Prabhuji beautifully mentions about spiritual life is simple, but at the same time, because we come from such a complex background, we see the material life and spiritual life is different. At least that's how I started. I came to States thinking that I want to retire. I want to be a full-time devotee. I never understood what the full-time devotees, but it's just the neophyteness. And then I came into retire, and then I'm in a different mess, which we'll talk sometime later. So here are my few cents, which I want to start this class with. I'll refer Prabhu. He can correct me because I don't know if that's something from Shastras. In my experience, attachment is fantastic. There can never be a blessing like attachment. Now, this is something which I've been contemplating on with the asterisk mark. What is that asterisk mark? Attachment is fantastic as long as you are attached to someone who is already in the spiritual platform or who is already there in the spiritual world or who went to the spiritual world. So, there are two parts of the attachment or two time frames for attachment. Now, this is very important, and we will dive into few examples about this. If I think about in my life, I was attached to my wife, extremely attached to her. However, I never knew this attachment is going to give me a different direction altogether in my life because she would ask me always, why you are so attached to me? I'm like, I don't have an answer for that. But the moment she left to the spiritual world, now that same attachment gives a different paradigm. I don't want to get into that thing. But the point which I'm trying to bring in here is one option for if we take Hare Krishna Prabhu, seek your blessings. So one paradigm of attachment is that you get so caught up in the material world thinking about enjoying the material necessities, not necessities, material enjoyment, anything which is coming up, whether it's a luxury and all that stuff. However, when that person goes away to whom you're attached, my goodness, it can take you to the two river sides. Actually, if you see, Ramanumi is coming, so I was thinking to quote few examples from there and other scriptures we read very often. So Lord Ram, actually, when he goes to Dashrath Maharaj calls him. The next day, his coronation. So he's going to be a king. And then his father calls. We all know what happened there. So now Lord Ram is banished to go to forest for 14 years. Now again, the principle of attachment and detachment. One thing which you see, and I was just thinking about this while driving here to the temple. Any person you take in Ramayana, any person, starting from Lord Ram, what is a single theme which is focused on? Any thoughts? What is the main theme of every person in Ramayana? Any thoughts or comments? This is going to be a study, so I'm not going to speak. We want two-way communication. Attachment to Lord Ram. Some way or the other. Okay.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Wonderful. Thank you. Difficult situation in life. Every person in Ramayana, very wonderful point, Prabhu. This is what I wanted to focus on. All these points are wonderful. Starting from Lord Ram, you take Bharat, you take Hanuman, you take Sugriva, you take Vali, you take even Ravana, you take Vibhishan, you take Kumbhakaran, you take Shrupankha. You take an example about Kuvera. Every person, their life is designed around difficulties, whether they are attached or whether they are detached, irrelevant of whatever it is. They, for Lord Ram, it's a different level of understanding. We are not talking different level of suffering. We are not talking about that because he's a supreme Lord. But the point or the theme, every person in Ramayana is teaching about that thing. So Lord Ram, all of a sudden, he was supposed to become a king. Just within overnight, everything has changed. So rather than becoming a king, he is now a Vanavasi. Right? So Lord Ram is teaching with that example. Mother Kaushalya is waiting for Lord Ram. She has no idea that this has happened. And Lord Ram comes. And before he comes, she makes huge preparation. Wonderful sweets for Lord Ram. Why? She didn't know that Lord Ram, this is going to be his last meal for 14 years. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopi Janala Bhagwana ki jai. Gaurari ki jai. So Mother Kaushalya, coming back to the motherhood point, which is what I'm going to focus on today's class about Mother Devahuti, why she is attached to her son. Prabhupada briefly clarifies. So she is ready to leave all her material comforts, but she is attached to her son. So Mother Kaushalya actually makes a huge preparation for Lord Ram, and she is very excited. And very interestingly, Lord Ram comes in a this is actually next day morning when Lord Ram is about to go to the forest, and he's in a weird, clothes, and then she's confused. So she says, "I made huge preparation for you." Why she made huge preparation for him? Because she felt this is his last unofficial meal. Because now tomorrow he'll be a king. I won't have that unofficial way of dealing with my son. You see a similar mood in Mother Sachi. We'll get there. It's a wonderful thing to discuss on, wonderful points to discuss on. So Kaushalya says, I this is the unofficial meal, and I want to serve my dear son. And she makes that whole preparation. And Lord Ram says, for 14 years, I'm just going to eat the roots and fruits. And she's completely devastated. For a mother, losing a son or a connection to the son or not seeing him for a long time, that is as good as death. I was, the sorry, I'm trying to take a detour, but this is very important, and I've been just contemplating on that. The mercy of Guru, the mercy of Krishna is so unlimited. If he wants, that attachment can go away within a second. Just 3-4 days, or maybe 2 days, maybe 4 days, I guess, before Nayan Sundari was leaving this world, I brought both the kids, and they were in their own world, but they came in to see her. And then I was just little distance, but I was in the same room. Mukunda went next to her, and Nayan Sundari holded her hand, and she didn't want to leave his hand. And I am in my tears because I know what is going. Of course, I didn't know that, oh, this is the end of at least my material world or whatever I had taken that way. So she was very attached to him. Especially mother is very attached to the kids, and especially the youngest one. Right? We see in the case of Ajamal, he didn't call other sons. He called, of course, that was Lord's inconceivable thing that he called Narayan. And I was thinking, when it was our last day, and just for a second, I don't want any of you to go through that experience. Imagine you are in a deep slumber. You open your eyes, devotees are doing a Sankirtan loudly in the room. What will you think? Oh, this is it. Now for a mother, just to see, hey, this is the end of my world. What is the first thing comes to their mind? What will happen to my child? Who will take care of them? How they'll be taken care of? Not a single thought came to her mind. The first thing when she opened her eyes, she looked for her guru. And then she offered obeisances to all the devotees. She wasn't able to physically do it, so she just did it with her hand. That is the power of Krishna's and Guru's mercy. When they are there, What to talk about attachment? Everything else can be done. A lot of times, a lot of us have that question. I am so attached. I am doing this thing. I'm doing that thing. What will happen if I'm leaving the body at that time? Will I remember Krishna? Or will I remember all these things? And this is a perfect example. This is such a fortunate thing for this congregation that we get to see one soul. Prabhu was talking, he's seen many. I haven't seen any. I've just heard about them. Seen someone leaving in front of us, going back to spiritual world. How did she make it happen? That's what I just contemplate on. So here Mother Kaushalya is feeling a huge separation from Lord Ram, and he says, I'm going to just eat the roots and fruits. And then Mother Kaushalya is feeling that huge separation. Similar thing which happens in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. Lord Chaitanya, when he decides that I'm going to take sannyas, taking sannyas not for his welfare, but for all of our welfare, that I want everyone to go back to Godhead. And when he takes sannyas, and Mother Sachi kind of gets to know about it, and she's standing on the door. She doesn't want him to go. She's like sleeping on the door so that my son shouldn't go. But Lord Chaitanya leaves. And then finally, after taking the sannyas, when he comes back, interestingly, by Lord Nityananda's mercy, he comes actually to Shantipur. And then Shantipur, he actually sends a message, you let Advaita Acharya know, and then let Sachi Mata know, saying that, Lord Chaitanya is coming. And then Lord Chaitanya mysteriously comes here. And Mother Sachi sees him. What is her position? I was hearing my spiritual master's class. Here he was mentioning about just the previous day, actually, Gauravani Prabhu's mother spoke, and she said, I could never understand Lord Chaitanya's sannyas pastime. It just doesn't sit in my heart as a mother. And Maharaj was mentioning about that as a mother, she's always attached to the child. And then even when someone sees a mother feeling that separation of the child, that same emotion comes to the heart of a mother because she is just thinking about that. So going back to Mother Sachi's pastime, Mother Sachi, when Vishwarup left, she was feeling intense separation from him, right? It reached to certain extent that both parents decided that Nimai should not go to school. Because if he becomes learned, he have a knowledge, then he will renounce. So we don't want to give him knowledge. And Nimai is saying, why you're not sending me to the school? And he is doing all things, mischievous things. And then the neighbors come, why don't you? If he has to take sannyas, he'll take, whether he goes to school or he doesn't go to school. It has nothing to do with. So finally, the father decides and Mother Sachi decides, saying that now he should go to the school. So Nimai goes to the school. So she says, when Vishwarup left, it created a huge separation in her heart. Promise me you will never take sannyas. Lord Chaitanya says, Nimai, at that time, yes, I will always be with you. Little detour. When Kaushalya asked Lord Ram, who told you to go to the forest? He said, my father. No, he said, is your father said that? Ramchandra says, no. What is important is the actual statement, which is, I need to go to the forest. It is irrelevant who spoke. So Mother Kaushalya says, okay, so your father gave an instruction. I'm also giving you instruction. You stay here. He says, yes, but I'll follow the order in which it was given. So first, my father asked me to go to the 14 years forest. I'll go and come back and stay with you. And then she is completely heartbroken. So Mother Sachi said to Lord Chaitanya that he will not take sannyas, but he takes sannyas. And when he comes back, she sees his shaved head. We talk about Khatwa, where he took the sannyas, that even the barber, thank you, bro. Even the barber was crying profusely. How can I cut the hairs of the Lord? This is so inconceivable for all of us. Because we go every month to get a haircut, nothing happens. Neither the barber, neither in our side. It just cut it. That's it. Who cares, right? But here, even the barber is crying. So, what is her situation? She is feeling intense separation. At my same Nimai is living there. Lord Chaitanya would jump in the air to dance. Prabhuji was beautifully mentioning, right? And then she's praying to Lord Vishnu because he falls down. When he jumps high in the sky, I don't want him to ever hurt. That's if I did any pious activity in my life, nothing should happen to my Nimai. That's the motherly love. So when she sees Nimai, she says, I want to cook for you. And he agrees. And he says, my whole life is sold out to you. If you say I will not leave. But here is one thing, people will criticize me, saying that as a sannyasi, I'm staying in the same town where my parents are. So she said, okay, you go to Jagannath Puri. So Lord Chaitanya agrees. And then finally he bids farewell after staying for a few months there, saying that I want to go to Jagannath Puri. And every year all the devotees will go there to see Lord Chaitanya and spend a huge, wonderful pastime with them. Third example. If we take an example, going back to Krishna Leela. Now, this is probably the highest intensity, especially with how Sukadeva Goswami is explaining. When Akrura comes to take Krishna, and if you see logically from that perspective, he's just taking him for a fight. Then he should come back, right? But even that apparently few days of separation, which Mother Yashoda, she literally faints when she gets to know about it. So this is father and mother. So when father is approached, Vasudeva is approached by Akrura with all the logics and all that stuff, he somehow is convinced, okay, I think Krishna will go, he'll come back. But when the news reaches to Mother Yashoda, she feels he will not come back. She says, no, he will not go. You guys don't have any idea what mother's feelings are. He should not go. And she declines Krishna going from there. And Krishna and Balram, they want to go because now there is a bigger purpose. Akrura explains with the logic, hey, they are also his parents, They are just in the jail. Krishna have to relieve them, They are just waiting for him. Similar experience happens when Krishna is in Dwarka with his wives, and then Krishna receives the news that the messenger of the kings come and tell him, saying that Jarasanga, is it Jarasanga or no? Yeah, he was the one who fought with Bhima. Yeah, so Jarasanga has actually, I get confused with Jayadratha and Jarasanga, so I'm good. Okay, so he actually prisoned few kings, and they are praying for you. And when Lord Krishna receives that news saying that, okay, I have to take care of them, and Narada Muni comes at that scene, he says, oh, you know what, King Yudhishthir wants to do Ashwamedha Yajna, and he is inviting you. And again, a similar principle where Lord Chaitanya is seeking the blessings of Mother Sachi, he says, what do I do? He is asking Uddhava, what Uddhava suggests, you should go to kill Jarasanga. Because for Ashwamedha Yajna, he has to send the horse for 1 year and nobody should dare. So this should happen. So better you release the king. And everybody agrees saying that this is what we should do. So coming back to Mother Sachi, coming back to Mother Yashoda, she says, no, he will never come back. It's a very similar, actually, the feeling of separation when Lord Ram is coming there. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to go between Ramayana and Krishna Leela because there is so much similarities there. So when Lord Ram is actually getting onto the chariot to leave, all the Ayodhya Vasis are literally lying on the floor that Lord Ram should not leave us. They are so much intense separation from him that they don't want to leave him. Similar thing happens in Krishna Leela. All the Vrajavasis, they don't want to let Krishna go. And Akrura has tough time to actually escort Krishna and Balram from there. Right? And he goes there. And of course, there is this detail which is mentioned in other scriptures, not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is basically Lord Krishna says, stop the chariot. And he goes there and meets all the Vrajavasis there and then consoles them, I will come back. And then finally, Akrura is telling Balramji, and Balramji convinces, saying that we should go now. And at that time, they leave. So Mother Yashoda is feeling such an intense separation when Krishna actually goes to Mathura. There is a beautiful theme, how beautifully is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami is explaining Vipralamba and Sambhoga. There is a Vipralamba feeling which is happening through Vrajavasis, but if you see for the Dwarka, for the Mathura Vasis, it's a Sambhog. Now, when they see Krishna, they are mesmerized by the beauty. And it so beautifully mentions, saying that when different people are there in that arena, when Krishna and Balram comes, based on their relationship with Krishna, they have a different feeling towards Krishna. This is so unique about spiritual. This is so unique about Krishna consciousnesses. There are so many variations, so many beautiful experiences one can have with Krishna. So they are thinking about that. But what is the situation there? It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that the situation of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya was like his warehouse was empty. Nobody was taking care of it. And when Uddhava comes to tell, and then this is where they actually completely broke down. They said, and they say this statement, please, I don't have the translation right now, so please forgive me about that. He says, Nanda Maharaj says, does Krishna ever remember us? That parenting feeling, and that too also with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it's so difficult for us to digest, to understand, but how that feeling of separation is so strong. Mother Srimati Radharani says, if I die, if Krishna comes, he will not see me. So I want to live. Right? Puchri ka Lota Baba is just sitting even till date that Krishna will come one day. Right? So this is Prabhupada mentions a beautifully point that her son was a Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can give up material attachment, therefore, only when one has attachment for the Supreme Person. So Mother Devahuti, here the son is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even that quotient of attachment is actually transforming her to be already on the spiritual plane. This is very important. When we read and hear about such elevated souls, they are not on ordinary platforms. We don't bring them down, right? She is the mother of Lord himself. So we can never compare her with what is our mundane thought process, right? So we need to understand that point. We see a similar thing. If we see from that perspective, we were just doing a drama when Srivas Thakur's son dies. Lord Chaitanya is performing a Sankirtan in Srivas Thakur's house, and his son dies. Now this is a very interesting, this is a very beautiful pastime. What is the mother feeling? Mother feeling, my only son is dead. And then Srivas Thakur comes and he says, don't disturb Lord Chaitanya's meditation. He is beautifully doing Sankirtan. We don't want to disturb him. Connection to the Supreme Lord, whether I am a relative or whether I am a devotee, is as empowering. There is no difference for that per se. The only thing is, we are at the material plane. There is definitely a conditioning. But when that relationship is very well established, it empowers us, it pulls us to that platform where we can experience the same thing. So though Srivas Thakur is a very elevated platform, but here he is mimicking, he is giving an example, he's living an example of a devotee. He's a Narada Muni himself. But he is actually telling that don't disturb Lord Chaitanya. He is doing a Sankirtan. He's completely detached. But mother, she's still attached. Right? We see an example about King Chitraketu. Now this is a shift in the thought process. If you read Chitraketu's wife, she actually starts criticizing the destiny. How unfair is the destiny? Chitraketu is a very elevated devotee. His wife is not at that platform yet. That's what at least I understood. Prabhu, feel free to correct me on that. She criticizes how this is unfair. Lord has not created properly. How the son can die before the father? So the child, I can't understand. This is completely imperfect arrangement of the Lord. And there are series of verses where she criticizes. Right? And Chitraketu's story, coming back to the beginning of the point where we talked about, He was very attached. When Angira Muni came to give him an idea saying that you will never have a son. But he said, no, I want a son, please, please, please. At that time when he was given a spiritual knowledge, he wasn't able to understand. But now when his son dies, and when Narada Muni wakes him up, and then his son says, which father are you, my father? I have many fathers in my past lives. Which father, who are you? And then at that time, when the spiritual knowledge is given, he is ready to consume that. It is said, I was just reading Shubha Vilas Prabhu book, and it's there in Srimad Bhagavatam as well. For sugar cane to grow, the drizzles of rain is not sufficient. The floor, the land has to be completely moistened, then their sugar cane will grow. Right? So, what is that fertile land? Sometimes in the course of our life, we come across such sufferings which actually moisten that land. Now you see, Chitraketu's wife is completely taking in the opposite side, but Chitraketu here is completely aligned with the spiritual plane. He's taking it very nicely, right? Thinking that what has to be done. So, even while we go through suffering, it is very important whether we are grounded or not. What is the meaning of being grounded? When we read Srimad Bhagavatam, this was wonderful question which was asked yesterday. Yugal Kishore Prabhu was asking, and what a beautiful answer Prabhuji gave. Who will not, who will sail through and who will not sail through? So, what is the one point which is very important? Reading scriptures. I was just mesmerized by that line. I'll tell you, in my personal life, I yearn for both of them, Prabhu and Mataji, to come, because the amount of experience they bring in is so condensed, because they have experience through that. I'll tell you, I had a counselor, I still have a counselor in Pune, but when I came through that, I realized one needs to actually balance the spiritual life and material life. One cannot offboard here and there. I worked as an architect, and I'm still an architect. I worked as an architect, and I said the purpose of life is to just practice spirituality. So what I did at my job, I will go in the conference room and I'll read Srimad Bhagavatam. And then I will just produce some document and give it. Some of my friends who are not spiritual, they kind of condemn me. What are you doing on the name of spirituality? You should also work. But they were close friends, they won't complain. I did it. With the time, what had happened is there was a change in management. A junior software engineer became my leader. And this guy is giving me left and right. And I want to quit. Whatever happens, because I'm not able to balance it out. So I want to quit. But what had happened is I didn't upgrade myself based on the technology. I lost track of it. So when I would go for interview, I would fail. And now I went to my counselor. I asked him saying that this is a problem. He clarified that thing, that we should do our job properly. So coming back again, the point is, where was I? About Chitraketu. Huh? Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Prabhu. So Chitraketu was aligned on that platform. One has to always stick to that platform. Spirituality, Prabhuji says a very beautiful time. It's not a spare tire, it's a steering wheel. What happens in our life, at least I'll think about myself, we keep switching. Sometimes it becomes a steering wheel, sometimes it becomes a spare wheel. On weekends, it becomes a steering wheel. On weekdays, it becomes a spare wheel. How many of us feel so? Right? At least I feel so. We get completely distracted. So, other point which he mentioned about who will sail the boat is who has a strong sadhana, who gives priority to chanting. I'm struggling, I need all of your blessings. Right? So here King Chitraketu is completely aligned. That's why he is not bewildered, but that actually takes him towards Krishna. He is ultimately receiving the mercy of the Lord. You take an example about Draupadi. Her 5 sons, they were sleeping. Ashwathama came and killed them. What would be her situation next day? She already lost the other son, right? Abhimanyu, we were just talking about that yesterday. In the same lineage, And now her only 5 sons are dead. Last 5 sons. And why did he kill them, Abhimanyu, Ashwadama? Because after Pandava's rule, nobody should be there as their seed. And he kills Parikshit. He tries to kill Parikshit also because that he realizes that's the thing as well. So what is Draupadi's reaction? So first Arjuna goes, she says, I will not take a bath until you get the blood of Ashwadama. And then until you kill that guy. And Arjuna promises, and Arjuna goes and gates the son. Gates this guy. What is the reaction of Draupadi? She says, spare him. Why? I understand how a motherly feeling is when she loses a son. Dronacharya is our guru. How would his wife would feel when she feels a separation? And she says, relieve him. And it's a wonderful conversation which happens. Bhima says, no, you should not leave. And Krishna is not responding. And they are both arguing on that. And Krishna says, Krishna covers both sides, as because he is your guru's son, you should not be killed. But at the same time, someone who kill the sleeping sons, he should not be spared. And Arjuna says, give me a clear instruction. That's the difference between Krishna and Guru. What is the difference between Krishna and Guru? Guru knows where I stand. And he gives me instruction based on how I should do. Coming back to this thing, I actually wanted to speak a different katha altogether, but this there. Ratnakar, when he's in the forest killing animals, Narada Muni comes in. He says, why are you doing that? I have to maintain my family. Okay, you go and ask your wife, will she share? Ask your wife and kid, will she share your karma? So he goes, yeah, absolutely. They will. I'm doing it for them. He goes and asks his wife and says, hey, can you guys take care of my karma? Hey, who are you? Karma is you. You are as a responsible person, as a householder, your responsibilities are why we take your karma. Really? I was thinking a different way. This is a dilemma all parents feel. We work so hard for kids. Please forgive me about that quoting it. But once they get married, it's a different story. Right? It's a different story. Then we are different. They are different. That's a story. So Ratnakar comes back. Thank you. Ratnakar comes back. He says, tell me what has to be done. And Narada Muni says, chant the name of Ram. He says, he can't chant the name of Ram. He chants Mara, 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 Mara. And then after some time, Narada Muni comes, there is an anthill formed. Right? And then he is hearing the Ram mantra. He's so excited. This is Guru. This is Guru's potency. That any person, however degraded we are, as long as we have a faith at the mercy of our Guru and Gauranga, our boat will sail. Right? Very beautiful. This is such a beautiful narration which happens in Ramayana actually. That Valmiki is thinking about this Ratnakar becomes Valmiki, who's before even writing Ramayana, he is thinking who's that personality who's so beautiful with a wonderful character and at the same time humble. And he asks these questions to Narada Muni, his guru. And Narada Muni at the time is in great ecstasy. Tears are flowing from his eyes. He knows who is that person, but he borrows the time from him, saying that give me some time, I'll tell you. And then he comes and tells him, saying that it's Lord Ram. And then he goes for a bath, and at the time he recites a curse, then Brahmaji comes, Brahmaji tells him, I actually intentionally brought this thing because he's singing in a particular meter. You should write Ramayana. And he's feeling so humble that why should I write Ramayana? And his eyes goes to Mother Sita. And he remembers his Ratnakar, this thing. What is his connection to Lord Ram? Then he compiles Ramayana. Then he thinks about who is going to actually give this singing. And then he wants to put Ramayana in the form of a song, in the form of a meter. And then he identifies Love and Kush. And Love and Kush comes to Ayodhya and they speaks about it. So I won't go there. The other example we talk about, again on the similar plane about, we talked about Draupadi and Chitraketu we talked about, but two apparently negative examples. right? Or three actually. Hiranyaksh's mother. When Hiranyaksha is dead, when Hiranyaksha is dead, she is feeling intense separation, saying, "Oh, my son is dead." Of course, Hiranyakashipu is there, but that's not how logic works. Oh, I still have at least one son. For a mother, losing a son is as difficult as like a mountain, you know, just falling on the head. And she's feeling that. And Hiranyakashipu speaks a kind of apparently spiritual philosophy, but not on the realized platform. He's talking about ultimately we have to surrender to the Lord. Other example, we talked about Gandharis. So when Gandhari decides saying that I'll just close my eyes, so many incidents are there about Dhritarashtra where he is being trained, whether it is Vidura, Krishna himself comes as a messenger, where he says, "What can I do?" That's the power of destiny. When Krishna says, "Oh, you know what? This guy is not good, your son. You have to really think about it. We are getting into this. Pandavas, you give them at least 5 villages." And at that time, he tries to attack Krishna and all that stuff. Duryodhana does that stuff, right? But Dhritarashtra says, "What can I do? That's in my destiny." Now, the same thing happened after his sons are dead. Why is he not saying that this is part of my destiny? At the time, no. At the time, why it happened to me? Right? So, Gandhari knows she is not blind. She's just dying. So, she knows she has that mother's heart. Plus, she also has some devotion which she makes her understand. But because of the power of association, she's so contaminated. When Duryodhana comes, when the before the fight is supposed to start, she tells him, "You go and take a bath and you come to me naked." And she says a very beautiful, interesting statement. "I cannot protect you because you are fighting against dharma. But I will solidify your body so that nothing happens to you." So he comes, Krishna again comes in, tells him, "Shame, shame, shame. How can you go Nanga like that?" So he realizes, he says, "At least cover your private parts." And Duryodhana does it. And then he comes. And then when she opens her eyes, she scans through that. And when she comes to the, "Why did you cover?" She asked. So he said, "When I was coming, I met Krishna." Gandhari is not an ordinary person. She has a lot of knowledge. She understood at that time also, hey, Krishna is covering every area. That's such a beauty about Krishna consciousness. Krishna says, "I give you what you lack and I protect what you have." Every devotee who wants to take Krishna consciousness seriously, Krishna provides that. As long as there is one asterisk here, as long as I'm sincere, I'm not there. So I need all of your blessings. So this is the story of Gandhari's son. The last one which I want to quote, again coming back to Ramayana. Before Ravana, so there is Ravana, there is Kumbhakarna, there is Shrupankha, and there are Vibhishan, 4 kids. So Ravana's grandfather, I forgot his name. If anybody remembers, please chime in. He decides, I should get my daughter married to a Brahmana. He's a Rakshasa. Why? Because the combination of Brahmana and Rakshasa will be unbeatable. So his daughter, he wants to get married to a Brahmana. And then finally he gets his daughter married to a Brahmana. His daughter is not thinking that way, but her father is thinking that way. And then the son-in-law gets to knows about it. And he curses her. Hey, you guys didn't tell me all this stuff. I curse you that your first child who is born will make everyone cry. That is how Ravana was born. So she begged forgiveness, please, please, please. That wasn't me. It was just my father. He says, okay, one of your child will be a pure devotee of the Lord Ram. And then Vibhishan is there. And then that he also has another co-wife. Through her, Kubera was born. Now, Kubera, as we know, Kubera actually created, this is beauty. I was just talking to Prabhu, that Kubera created a wonderful city on Trikuta mountain. That was actually a place where Devtas would come for enjoyment. It's the same mountain where Gajendra Moksha also happened. Beautiful. And there is another story. Shubha Vilas Prabhu is so amazing how this Trikuta mountain was formed. I don't have time, so I won't get there. So mother of Ravana, always thinking about why this guy gets Kubera, look at him. And she would feed that envy in the child. That, look at this Kubera, look at him, how's his populance and all that stuff. So the enmity within Ravana's heart created right from there about Kubera. And we know about he stole his Pushpaka Viman. That's how it happened. And it's so beautifully mentioned saying that everything in Ravana's kingdom is Chori Kaman. Everything. Start from why you start from this, everything Chori Kaman. Not a single thing he earned honestly. Even when he asked Brahmaji, you make me immortal. Hey, you are trying to be this thing, right? And then he offers all his heads, and then until his final head is offered, Brahmaji comes, he says, I want to be immortal. So Brahmaji grants, Devta, are yaar, वापिस दे दिया तुमने. Brahmaji bole, no, there is a loophole. This guy is so arrogant, he didn't even ask about humans. He didn't even count human can ever attack me. So he didn't say that. And Lord Ram will appear and he will protect. So she was injecting that enviness. A similar thing happens here, right? Dhritarashtra is always comparing. This is the seed, or this is the result of comparison. Prabhuji was talking about compare, criticize, and complain. We should never do these three. So what did comparison brought him? That envy brought him. Same way he wants to kill, Duryodhana wants to kill Bhima. Why? If this guy is this comparison, competitor. I have to pull this guy down. So she feeds that, inject that idea. She asks them, you go to the forest and do tapasya. So all four goes. So when Brahmaji comes, he offers. So Ravana got what he wanted. He felt, I got immortality, but that's not the truth. And then Shrupanka says, she was so ugly from her face. She said, I should get a liberty to change my form anytime I want. Right? I was thinking, isn't that the case? Please, I think about myself. When we come from a material background, we come to spirituality, we want to change the form. Hare Krishna. Sometimes my kids say, you're never nice to us like that. And I just realized that's so true, because our identity in the temple is different than the identity at work. I was just speaking to Nishkanchananda Prabhu who's there. I will never take my example at work. I'm a core materialistic because that's my separate identity. I still maintain two identity. That's the unfortunate thing. At work, I'm just a different person. At temple, I'm a different person. So Shrupankha wanted that identity change. I should be able to, what they call it as. Anyway, I don't want to get in there. Yeah. So Shrupankha says this. Vibhishan, and this guy's this guy's turn come up, Kumbhakaran. Brahma ji thinks, अरे ये बंदे ने already मांग लिया है. अभी if this guy asks, then counteract होएगा. So immediately request Mother Saraswati to sit on his tongue, and whatever he says, it's about I should sleep. Yeah, I didn't want to say, please change it. Okay, 6 months you will live, 6 months, or 6 months you will sleep, 6 months you will be awake. And when he is awake, he is fed also, he is given education also. He was a very knowledgeable guy. He is learning different astras also, how to use that just while 6 months he is awake. Vibhishan turns come. He says, my Lord, I only want the shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Ram. And other people, hey, what the heck you are doing? After so much of penance, you are like a kalang to our whole family. Like, what are you doing? What are you asking? This is the same dilemma which comes to devotees' life when you go and be with sometimes your old friends and you change, you know what? Wasting your life, man. He has no idea that he is in dungeon. He's telling me that. So that's a different story. We here practice spiritual life. Nobody talks about destination here. That's the unfortunate thing. We live the life of Google. We live the life of Google Map. Every time I go somewhere, I put a destination. But nobody talks about what is my destination. Everyone thinks I'm B Ram. Right? A lot of times we talk about in Sunday school, parents want that our kids should become like Ram. They don't want to become Dashrath. Drop the kids. And I know there was a huge this thing, why you want us to be physically there, we have to take care of groceries and all. Hey, only at the time of temple you have to take care of groceries. You don't have other time. You work from home. You don't do any other thing. So at that time you go, no, rather than going to the mall, you get your groceries. You spend your time Sunday. No, I want to do that stuff. So coming back to this point, please forgive me for all distraction. I'm not prepared. So please forgive me about that. The point we were talking about is attachment is wonderful. as long as it is actually taking us towards Krishna. And for a person who is attached to someone and that person leaves, that's a different story. And again, that requires Guru's mercy. I was just thinking that cannot be a universal statement based on few examples I could remember of. It is very important that we be grounded in our devotional service, especially on sadhana, seva, and sangha, and shastras reading. Right? So we quote, just to summarize, we quote an example from Ramayana how Mother Kaushalya is thinking about Lord Ram's separation. We talked about Mother Yashoda, how she's feeling the separation from there. And then we also took an example about King Chitraketu. We talked about his wife's example in this case specifically, that how she was condemning the destiny. We gave an example about Hiranyaksh's mother. We also talked an example about Ravana's mother. And then we also gave an example about Gandhari's mother. So please forgive me for all my shortcomings. I sincerely seek blessings at all of your lotus feet. That ultimately I want to develop love for Krishna, and I'm struggling there. I really need all of your blessings. So, with that, I think we will conclude our today's session. Are there any comments? Prabhu, would you like to add something here? Vimal Kishore Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Anyone? Any comments? Okay. No comments. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta ki jai.
Jai.
Nande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I'll end this class now.